ready for some serious inspiration. We're doing a deep dive into some motivational excerpts today.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the kind that makes you want to seize the day,
I like it.
It's really good stuff.
Yeah.
So we're digging into this speech.
Okay.
And it's all about personal growth and reaching your full potential.
It's funny how these self-improvement themes always seem to resonate with people.
Yeah.
We all have this drive inside us to want to be better.
Totally. And this speaker, he doesn't waste any time getting to the point.
Yep.
Right off the bat,
Yeah.
he's talking about perseverance, pushing through those times when it's easier to just give up.
Yeah.
He's like that voice in your head saying, don't you dare quit now.
It's true, though.
You've come way too far.
Yeah, and there's almost a psychological thing we have about pushing past discomfort.
Right.
It reminds me of grit, know?
Totally.
That ability to just stick with something no matter how hard it gets.
Absolutely. And he goes beyond just not giving up. He talks about having this strong why, a real sense of purpose.
Right.
He uses this image of someone drifting through life like a leaf in the wind.
Wow.
Just aimless. You could practically hear him saying, you gotta know where you're going.
Yeah. It's the difference between just dreaming about a goal.
Totally.
And actually taking steps to, make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
When you know your why, it's less about wanting to quit.
Right.
And more about proving how much you believe in it.
I love how he connects that to looking back on this moment in the future.
Oh, just imagine yourself years from now thinking about today.
Right.
What do you want to remember?
Yeah.
He really emphasizes giving it everything you've got.
It's powerful, right? It's instead of getting caught up in the day-to-day, you're thinking about the bigger picture, the legacy you're building.
Exactly. And he makes this really interesting point about how real motivation has to come from within.
Oh, yeah.
It's not about money or possessions. He's talking about your mindset, your outlook on life.
That's key. In psychology, there's this idea of locus of control.
Oh, interesting.
It's about whether you feel in control of your life or if you feel like you're being controlled by outside forces.
I see.
And people who cultivate an internal locus of control, they tend to be more proactive, more resilient. It's like he's saying you have more power than you think.
Exactly.
And he sums up this idea of progress and happiness with this simple equation. Progress equals happiness.
I love that.
You can just feel that energy, that feeling of being fully alive when you're growing.
It's so true.
It's amazing.
And there's a scientific side to this too.
Really?
Yeah, it's all about dopamine.
Okay.
That reward molecule in our brains.
Right.
It's released when we experience pleasure, and guess what triggers it?
What?
Progress.
Wow.
Even those small wins give
Yeah.
us this sense of accomplishment and keep us going.
That's so powerful.
Yeah.
It's happiness isn't some far-off destination. It's about the journey itself.
Exactly.
And that journey, he says,
Yes.
starts with believing in yourself.
Yes.
He has this line about believing in yourself even when no one else does.
Oh, I love that.
He's basically saying your belief is all that matters.
It's about seeing your own potential, even when others might not.
And it becomes this self-fulfilling thing, right?
Totally.
Your belief fuels your actions.
Yes.
And then your actions just reinforce your belief.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And he's adamant that so much of what holds us back is fear.
Oh, for sure.
Fear of failure, fear of judgment, just plain fear of the unknown. And he challenges us to break free from that fear and just take a leap of faith.
It's about embracing the unknown, realizing that real growth often happens outside of our comfort zones.
He uses this powerful image. He says, you can't escape life unscathed.
Wow.
He's basically saying, if you're not willing to risk getting hurt, are you really living?
That's deep.
Right.
Yeah.
It really makes you think.
It does.
He's pushing us to rethink what it means to play it safe.
Because sometimes playing it safe is actually the riskiest thing you can do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It can lead to a life full of regrets, wondering, what if?
100%.
And instead, he talks about this idea of dying on the field. Not literally, of course.
Right.
But in the sense of giving it your all, holding nothing back, embracing the struggle, because that's what the growth is.
Yes. He even challenges how we look at problems.
Oh, how so?
He says, no problem is permanent.
That's a good point.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a small shift in mindset, but it can make a huge difference.
It's about how we choose to see those challenges.
Exactly.
And it talks about how easy it is to get trapped in negativity.
Oh.
Feeling like everything's going wrong. But he challenges us to ask ourselves,
Yeah.
is it really that everything is wrong, or is it just my perspective that needs to change?
It all comes back to that locus of control.
Right.
If you're always blaming outside factors, you're giving away your power.
Oh, I see.
But when you shift your focus inward, you realize what you can control,
Right.
the thoughts, your feelings, your actions. That's where change really begins.
And you know what I love? He doesn't just leave us hanging with this idea
What's that?
of like needing to shift our perspective.
Right.
He actually gives us some practical advice.
Oh, okay.
He says we need to literally move our bodies,
Interesting.
shift our energy. He's like, you have to move your body. You have to change your energy. It's very direct.
I like that.
Yeah, it's like a command.
So it's like he's reminding us that we're not just minds.
Right.
We're physical beings, too.
Right.
It's all connected,
Right.
our mental and physical states.
Absolutely.
Think about how good you feel after a walk.
Oh, totally.
Or how exercise can, boost your mood.
Mhm.
Sometimes just moving your body can shift your whole perspective.
Totally. It's like he's saying, get unstuck physically and mentally. And throughout this whole speech,
Yeah.
he keeps reminding us that we're capable of way more than we think.
We are.
He even uses the word miracle to describe us, like, whoa.
That's powerful.
Right. He sees our potential,
Yeah.
and he really wants us to see it too.
It's that feeling of possibility, isn't it?
Exactly.
Going from a mindset of scarcity
Yeah.
to abundance.
Mhm.
We have the power to create amazing things.
Totally. And then he gets to this super interesting idea where he says, you're not made for this moment.
Ooh, I like that.
It's kind of like he's saying we've all got our own paths, our own timelines.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. And it's both encouraging and empowering at the same time, don't you think?
I do, yeah. Because it's on one hand, you don't have to compare yourself to others. We're not all on the same schedule.
Exactly.
But it's also empowering because it's you have your own unique role to play.
Yes. It's like he's saying your time is coming. Just keep going, keep growing, and trust the journey.
I love that.
Right. And he ties it all back to this idea that progress equals happiness.
It always comes back to that.
It's not about reaching some finish line. It's about the journey of becoming better.
Becoming the best versions of ourselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he's adamant that it all starts with that first step,
Mm-hmm. Even if it's small.
even if it's scary, right?
Exactly.
Because action, even imperfect action, is better than doing nothing at all.
100%.
He talks about how people always ask him about the secret to happiness.
Oh, I bet.
And he's like, it's progress. It's not about chasing pleasure or avoiding pain.
Right.
It's that constant striving to be a little bit better each day.
It changes how we see happiness, doesn't it?
Totally.
It's not some destination you arrive at. It's
Yeah.
this byproduct of growth, of pushing ourselves and expanding our experiences.
And he talks about how when we're in that mode of growth, challenging ourselves,
Yeah.
we just feel more alive.
More engaged.
And not only that, we actually have more to offer the world around us.
Right? Yes. It's like our own internal growth.
Mhm.
It doesn't just stay within us.
Right.
It impacts everything and everyone around us.
I love that. He talks about finding that thing that lights you up inside,
Yeah.
that connects you to your purpose so deeply that it feels as natural as breathing.
Wow.
It's like he's saying, don't just exist, truly live.
It's beautiful.
Right. And he acknowledges that, yeah, it's easy to stay stuck in a rut.
It
It
is
chooses the comfortable over the challenging.
for-
But he's like, is that really enough for you?
Right. Is it?
Like deep down, don't we all want something more?
Of course.
We crave that fulfillment that comes from really living up to our potential.
Totally. And he actually gives some advice on how to do that.
Yeah. Like what?
Like surrounding yourself with good influences,
Right.
reading inspiring books,
Okay.
creating an environment that supports your growth.
I love that.
It's about taking control of the world you're creating for yourself.
Yes. And he also talks about the importance of being present
Oh, that's huge.
because it's easy to get caught up in the past or worried about the future.
It is. It is.
He's got this great line, don't get so stuck on yesterday that you miss the opportunities waiting for you today.
So true. It's like the present moment is where the real power is.
Right. We can't change the past and we can't control what hasn't happened yet,
Exactly.
but we can choose how we show up right now in this moment.
Absolutely.
And another distinction he makes,
What's that?
he talks about the difference between success and fulfillment.
Oh, okay.
And he says, success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure.
That's
It's like, don't just chase external validation.
right.
Find work that lights you up, that aligns with your values.
Yeah. Finding that sweet spot where you're passionate,
Mm-hmm.
where you feel like you're contributing something meaningful.
Yes. And he's not afraid to talk about risk either.
Which is important.
He encourages us to really go for it, to take the risk of doing what you want.
I love that.
Because he believes that deep down, our truest desires, those are the keys to what the world needs from us. It's like he's saying, don't be afraid to put yourself out there. The world needs what you have to offer. He talks about how he never would have found his own path if he hadn't been willing to take risks, to get uncomfortable, to embrace the unknown.
And it's not always easy.
Oh, absolutely not.
But those challenges, those setbacks, that's often where we discover how strong we really are.
And you know what I love about how he ends this?
What's that?
He doesn't tell us to go tell everyone our plans, our dreams. He says, go live them. Live them so fully, so authentically that your life becomes the message.
Wow, I love that.
Right. It's like he's saying, let your actions speak louder than words.
Because in the end, our actions are what really matter.
Exactly. It's not what we say, it's what we do that truly shapes our lives and leaves its mark on the world.
I think that's a good place to wrap up, don't you?
Yeah. So as we finish up this deep dive into unlocking your potential, what really resonated with you today?
Right. What's one idea that you can start putting into action?
Yes. Even today, even something small.
Exactly.
Just take that first step.
Because remember, if true fulfillment comes from living up to our full potential, what are you truly capable of achieving?